Hello, and the Mitre 10 Cup is almost upon us, and we are building up towards it. This is our favourite competition here at New Zealand Sports Radio. Why? Because we get to go around and talk to the coaches and the players. You get a real insight into what is going on. And today, I have the absolute pleasure of chatting with Aaron Good from Manawatu Turbos. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, very good, thank you, Paul.
So, how important is it to you guys, the club competition down there in Manawatu for putting together your Mitre 10 Cup side?
Oh, it's pretty critical on a few fronts. Certainly from a player development point of view, in our academy, so our young players, we get to see them on a week-to-week basis. Get to review them and work with them through the club season. Also, from our contracted player point of view, really important that what we're introducing and working with them in our environment, they're taking back to their clubs and implementing in club footy. But also from a talent ID perspective as well, there's always those players that shine and play well or move into the area and they force their hands through their form and so from a selection point of view, it's really important as well.
And it looks like it's been a pretty good competition down there this year with Massey Massey University Rugby and Fielding Yellows, I think, are playing in the final this weekend. But it looks like if you go to College Old Boys, Kitoa, Old Boys Marist, looks like it's been a pretty healthy competition you've had down there this year in the club competition.
Yeah, look, it's coming out of COVID. We went to one round, and look, those two teams that you mentioned at the top of the table there, the actually competition has finished here already from 2 weeks ago. So yeah, those two teams came out of COVID probably a level above initially. I think as a result of that was probably a number of players or a high number of players are in the academy or in our environment. So they had, we stayed in touch and they were working pretty hard behind the scenes. So they probably had a bit of a jump on the rest. But from there, the early rounds and the other clubs had a bit more time and got things together and started, turned out to be a pretty competitive club comp by the back end of the season. And went pretty couple of close semis, and then it went into a pretty really interesting final actually between Varsity and Yellows. And Yellows they started off really well in the final. I had the game won in the second half, and then turned into a bit of a grandstand finish with Varsity coming home pretty strong and bundled out in the corner and full time. So it was a good sort of fitting finish.
Yeah, 24-7, just a one-score win finish there, as you say. Yeah, a tight one there. So moving on then, and looking at your squad, there's a couple of players missing from there that have been sort of part of your setup for a while now. People like Nick Crosswell, Terry Black. So a bit of a transition season for you guys.
Yeah, it feels really different certainly from my time involved. We've had a sort of a core group that's been here for a number of years, and it does feel like a bit of a regeneration of the team in some ways. You've mentioned a couple of experienced guys there, and they're going to obviously big losses on and off the field. But we've got a lot of talent coming through. And we have replaced those guys with some experience. So they've come outside from the area, but they bring their own different IP and different ideas, and they fit in really good too. So, we feel we're in a pretty good place at this point in time.
Yeah, a couple of players. I mean, maybe not household names, but you think, obviously Michael Alatoa is, but players like Sui Mali and Philo Paulo, both those two guys at the Rugby World Cup last year. So yeah, you say you've got a couple of high quality, Milo perhaps pretty, Sian Male a bit of a younger player, but particularly Paulo there, yeah, experienced campaigner, knows his way around the rugby pitch, will be a real good mentor off the pitch for some of the younger guys going through.
Absolutely. I mean, international experience is critical, not lost Rugby World Cup, but Philo, he's played in Europe, so he brings that sort of experience as well. And so no, he's been really good for our boys since coming in. Added a lot of size too, which is something that we've probably not always been known for, but certainly early indications are that we've got a pretty big pack, which we're excited about.
Yeah, no, you're true. Size hasn't been as perhaps been a bit of an issue. Players like Liam Mitchell, really good line-out operator, but sometimes a bit of a kind of lock come six. Nick Croswell, another guy who played lock and six or as well. So yeah, sometimes you guys have had a bit, as you say, perhaps not had the bulk in the last couple of seasons, but to you've got that this year is a good thing.
Yeah, well, that's right with Philo there at lock, and Sam Levi's at Tom Hughes, are genuine locks. You know, they're all over 2 meters and plenty of weight with them. So we've got specialists there now, and then we've got the Liam Mitchells to be the 6 and / lock like you talk about.
Looking at the backs, then a couple of names here that you'd love to have, but whether you'll get to see them much. I mean, people like Aaron Smith, obviously named in the All Blacks. Lamapi, we've heard obviously a bit has what we think has been has had injuries. I think it's probably why he wasn't in the All Blacks selection. So, have you been given any sort of indications to how much of Aaron you might see this year?
Like the rest of the PUs, the talk is that the first couple of rounds that they will potentially be available. So we're banking on Aaron being available this week. And Nani, we'll just got to see how his injury rehab goes. But yeah, hoping in the back end of the competition he'll be available for probably the last 3 or 4, hopefully.
I guess you're looking at some like either Stuart Cruden or I've gone back and see or Ben Winus. Leading around. I mean, obviously Cruden there, and Aaron's been in the country. No chance of getting him back for a little swan song.
That question was put. That was pitched on just inquiring to see what he was doing post Super, but no, he was all locked up and going to Kobe in Japan. Okay. So no chance of that. So we've got our two 10s. Ben Winus, been around the local club scene for a few years. Been involved. He had a couple of horror seasons with injuries, but he's back and played really well on the weekend just gone. And yes, we've got young Stuart Cruden as well, who's an exciting sort of young talent.
Yeah, so having Aaron Smith and obviously Jamie Booth, the captain there, to give them a bit of experience to help them. Plus also coming in Nigel Awong, again, bring a bit of experience into that back line that is, as you say, very youthful. Hopefully Milner Scudder will get to play. I saw a photo at the weekend that he was in your pre-season hit out against Wellington. So how did that hit out go? Is things looking good for the weekend?
Yeah, like it was. We played down Levin and played against a Wellington side, and they were a strong side. But they were missing a few, to be fair. So they'll get stronger, and they'd only been together for a week or so. We had the benefit of probably another extra week on them. So we managed to get the win on Saturday, and look, we were building quite nicely. We're pretty happy where we're at. It's a long way to go, but really looking forward to getting into this week against the Taniwha.
Cool. And this week, obviously, it's kicking off later in the year than normal. We had a quick chat pre-show about weather, and whilst it's raining here, we're expecting it obviously to be drier than normal, some hard grounds, a bit warmer perhaps as well. You're seeing that, expect to see lots of exciting attacking play, expecting the weather to impact the style of rugby across this competition?
Yeah, I guess the Turbos have always been probably renowned for an attacking team, and we certainly want to still bring that flair. And we've probably always known had a pretty good back line, but the question marks has been around the pack. Well, I think this year that's been sort of we'll wait to see. But as we talked about earlier, it's some big shifts and some big humans there. So we're looking forward to hopefully getting an edge in that area, and that we're just going to make sure we play with a balanced game, depending on the context of the game, and but we'll be able to play both styles, which will be quite encouraging, and absolutely the weather going through into spring will hopefully help us, and the ball and play will probably lift as a result, and yeah, so fitness could be critical.
So fitness and then obviously some players will need to be rested. So it's going to be a full squad season, isn't it? It's full. It's this is whilst the club season was shortened. The Mitre Cup is still the full 10 weeks plus the two finals, 2 weekends of finals after that. So yeah, it's going to be a full squad effort, isn't it, this year?
Oh, it always is. Like you generally bank on a couple of dings each week, and I'm not sure how many players we went through last year, and we had sort of just fell over the line in the semi-final. We were getting taped back together by the back end of the year, and hopefully we'll just have a little bit more depth this year, and hopefully we're running over the line this year.
So talking about last year, you say you came up against a strong Bear Plenty side in the semi-final, who went on to win the whole competition and came a little bit short there. But what does success look like this year?
Certainly an improvement on last year. We feel that we were pretty happy with the end result of making the top four, but we certainly want to go one better this year, and certainly play a game that's a game of rugby in a style that's going to engage our fans and get people wanting to come along and be involved, and we make sure that we're connecting with our community. And if we can do that, we can make people proud the way we're playing and connecting with our region, then that's going to be a success for us. And I think the results will sort of flow on the back of that. Yeah,
and you've got some of the most boisterous fans down there. I've been down there, and I even I forgot to bring it with me because I'm not in my normal studio. I would have put my green bucket hat on. I got my green bucket on for this interview, but so that's back in the main studio. As far as connection with fans, you're one of the best, definitely in the country. So, folks, if you can get down there. If you've got young kids, the language might be maybe stay away from that side of the fans. But if you're there for a fun time, then go sit next to the Bucketheads. They're a great laugh, and some of the best chanting, best noise you'll hear in rugby here in New Zealand. One question that I like to ask coaches is, what is one key stat that you check out on a Monday morning? Because we get a whole bunch of stats from Sky and on ESPN and on those sort of places, but I know you guys have access to a lot more stats than that. So what's one of your go-to stats on a Monday morning?
I'll probably, it depends on what side of the ball you're coaching, but I reckon if you're coaching defence, it's hard to go away from tackle percentage. I think if you make a high tackle percentage, you're going to go a long way to going pretty well. So that'd be one on defence. For me, on attack, it's probably a little bit different, but kick to ruck ratios is really intriguing, and I think it has a big impact on winning and losing games. So if you have a lot of rucks compared to very little kicks, then your chances are you've probably played a lot of rugby. And there's usually a direct correlation between a lot of play and a lot of turnovers, and therefore a lot of missed tackles because your D's not set. So just trying to get that balance in your game right, and ensuring that you're not trying to play too much inside your half, recognising when it is on to go, then go. But so I think the kick to ruck ratio is a really intriguing one for me.
That's interesting, yeah, because if it's high and you've played the game plan by the sounds of things, it shows you've been playing in the right part of the pitch as well. Whereas if it's low, it means you've perhaps had to, as you've been playing in your own half too much and not being able to get the territory, I guess, as well. So it tells you some things. It tells you some things that might not expect. It's not just purely about how much time you've had the ball in the hand. It's also where in the pitch the game has been as well. Interesting. And on the defensive side, interestingly, there's a few other ones there that people sort of talk about first up tackles and being a bit more precise about, and sort of percentage of one-on-one tackles. yeah, it does get a bit more granular than just purely tackle percentage. But yeah, you say if you're making your tackles, it makes it much harder for the opposition to play. Thank you very much for that. That was yeah, really insightful. As I say, we only get a lot of people from a fan's perspective just look territory and possession, but clearly there's a lot more stats that are out there, and some that are a lot more meaningful. So thank you for that. Good luck with the season.
Thank you.
And say, and we'll look forward to Manawatu Turbo switching up the styles as and when is required this season, rather than. So thank you, everybody. Please do like the New Zealand Sports Radio Facebook page, and we're getting around all of the different all the provinces and interviewing the coaches. So check out our page, or if you prefer to listen on the go, then search New Zealand Sports Radio on your favorite podcatcher, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all of those. Thank you very much, Aaron, and good luck for the season, Manawatu Turbos.